At only 14 years old, Marcella Williams gave birth to a handsome baby boy who she named Davontae in June of 1995. He was born 4 months premature and suffered developmental disabilities because of it, but otherwise he was physically healthy. It wasn't long into his young life when he was brought to Child Protective Services' attention. At 2 months old, CPS monitored his care for 6 months after a complaint alleged Marcella was neglecting him. The case was eventually closed, and no action was taken. In the following years, Marcella met and began dating Lisa Ann Coleman. They eventually moved in together. In 1999, CPS was alerted to possible abuse within the home. During the investigation, little Davontae was discovered to have multiple bruises and injuries. It was determined that Miss Coleman had abused him. Davontae and his 1-year-old sister were removed from the home and placed in foster care. I could find no record of Lisa Coleman being charged with any crime regarding this incident. A year later, Marcella regained custody of both children, partly because she agreed to not see Lisa Coleman anymore. She gave birth to a 3rd child in November of 2000, a 2nd daughter. Sometime after that, she and Lisa rekindled their romance. Lisa split her time between living with Marcella and the 3 kids, and her mother's home, where her son from a previous relationship lived. Davontae attended only a month and a half of 1st grade in 2002 before suspicions of abuse were being raised, and a visit was made to the home. Everyone, including the children, denied any abuse. No further action was taken at the time. Shortly thereafter, Davontae stopped attending school. He was not seen by a pediatrician after that either. CPS investigators attempted to check in with the children 9 separate times by December 2002. No one answered the door each visit, and again, I found no record of any further action taking place. Apparently, Marcella and Lisa would constantly move in order to evade authorities. Overall, CPS had been contacted at least 16 times in regards to concerns of Davontae's well-being. On July 26, 2004, Arlington, Texas 911 received a call from Lisa Coleman claiming Davontae was having trouble breathing. But when paramedics arrived, it was obvious the child wasn't just unresponsive. 9-year-old Davontae Marcel Williams was dead, and had been for a number of hours. Wearing nothing but a diaper and several bandages, Davontae weighed only 35 pounds, roughly half of what a healthy, nourished 9-year-old boy should. He was laying on the bathroom floor between the toilet and the tub. His fragile body was covered with infected sores and wounds at varying stages of healing. He had cigarette burn scars and a fresh tear in his lower lip. He had ligature marks on his wrists and legs where he had been restrained with plastic extension cords. It was clear Davontae had suffered years of abuse and neglect. During his autopsy, he was discovered to have over 250 injuries and scars over his entire body. Malnutrition and slight pneumonia were determined to be the manner of death. He had been given soup, Pediasure, Pedialyte, and over-the-counter medicines in an attempt to treat his failing health, but it was all too little too late, and speculated to be nothing more than an attempt to prevent his needing to be seen by a medical professional, who would have surely reported his condition to authorities. Lisa Ann Coleman and Davontae's mother, Marcella Williams, were both arrested and ultimately charged with capital murder and injury to a child. Marcella chose to take a plea deal to avoid a jury trial and possible death sentence. She received a life sentence and is eligible for parole in 2044. She is currently housed at Murray Prison in Gatesville, Texas. Coleman opted to take her chance with a jury. Prosecutors asked for the death penalty due to an aggravated circumstance or an act that increases the level of liability or responsibility of a crime. In Coleman's case, that would be kidnapping, leading to capital murder, since she used restraints on Davontae's ankles, legs, and wrists to prevent him from moving, leaving, or accessing food. There was also evidence that he had been locked in the pantry for hours at a time, all contributing factors to his death. On June 22, 2006, it took the jury approximately an hour to return a verdict of guilty of capital murder. She received the death penalty. Her defense team tried arguing against the kidnapping charge, since without it, the capital murder charge would have to be reduced, therefore sparing her from the death penalty. All appeals were denied, including the United States Supreme Court deciding against hearing her case. Coleman lived 8 years in the Mountain View unit at the Texas Department of Criminal Justice Prison in Gatesville, which houses the state's female death row inmates. Though not on death row, Mountain View unit is home to Yolanda Saldivar, who murdered Tejano singer Selena in 1995 in Corpus Christi, Texas. On September 17, 2014, Lisa Coleman was executed by lethal injection at the Texas Department of Corrections in Huntsville, Texas. She was the 15th woman to be executed in the state since 1976. Thank you for watching Justice Calls. Are you listening?